might just do it myself first, because I am still somehow involved, I guess. And let me give you the background on how this came about and why I think it's a valuable experience, regardless of which way you want to go, which is a real startup or an experience. So in Australia, I moved about 7 months ago here to the US for a job. But in Australia, I was very active in the local scene. Guys like Bart and Peter, we've all been really involved in trying to build Australia's capability in technology, and we created a bunch of events. Bart actually created startup camps, and I observed that how much of an impact the startup camp had on the Australian community. People formed real startups, not just out of the camps, but they met each other and formed real startups after it. One of my colleagues, I used to work at PricewaterhouseCoopers, he was deputy CTO of a firm that's making over $1 billion a year. He quit his very senior, high-paying job to jump into a startup based on a Chinese entrepreneur he met at one of the startup camps that Bart organised. That to me is a metric of success for an incubator, and I think it's phenomenal. And even the people that haven't created startups have actually formed deep relationships. People, a lot of the Australians here all met through these events, and we've all become really close friends because of it. There's a thing about Silicon Valley that I've learned, and the secret to this place is cultural. It's all about shared intimacy and alumni networks. It's about collaborating on projects, developing trust, developing an understanding in different people so that you can call on them later on. Where I work is Vast.com. Everyone there worked together 10 years ago. They had a startup, they went their separate ways, they did separate things in the last 10 years, and they've come back together. They picked the people that they remembered and maintained connections with. They knew exactly what they're good at, what they're not good at. And Vast right now, even though it hasn't got a big media presence, it's kicking ass, and it's got a lot to do because of the people that have come through that alumni network. So that's why I think it's such an important thing to be encouraged in things like this for any type of community. And it's not just Australia, I just like to see this type of community innovation growing. Now, having said that though, there's also a personal incident I had, so with the startup bus actually, before I continue, I actually said, let's try and get more Aussies over to South by Southwest, and I said, why don't we do a road trip? And as a joke over alcohol, I said, why don't we do it as a startup camp, because it just seemed like ridiculous to do, but at the same time I was thinking that would be fun. And people took me seriously. I think Rai was there and she laughed, and I kept saying to people, and long story short, I got sick of talking about it in February. I went to my friends and said, how do I raise money for some of this? And they're like, just put a website up and we'll help you. So I put a website up, created a Twitter account, TechCrunch wrote about it, everyone else started talking about it, and then I'm like, shit, I've got to do this now. And so that's why I'm here now. In the last 3 weeks I've been frantic as we've tried to organise this, and it's just getting bigger and bigger. It seems like it's something that could roll onto more than a one-hit wonder, and that's what I want to. This is like an experiment for me that I want to prove that it can work. Yeah. Now, a personal story that happened around the same time I created the website. I joined a rugby team, and it was in the shitty part of San Francisco, which is a bit dodgy. And on my first training, I didn't know anyone, so I waited at the bus stop to catch a bus back into the city. As I'm waiting there playing on my iPhone, I noticed a girl walk across me, and then she ran back, and I looked at her and I'm like, that's kind of weird, but it raised my sort of awareness levels. So the next thing I notice is I turn around and I see this hooded kid walk right around, and as he walked right around, he lifted his arm up and then he pointed a gun right into the temple of my head. Now, in a situation like that, they don't teach you that, you don't read about it, you just got to react. And I didn't think, I just reacted. And so I did what if I did think about, I wouldn't have done. I stood up, I looked at him, and apologies to the ladies, but this is exactly what I said. I looked at him and I went, fuck you, you fucking cunt. He froze and he ran. I kept my wallet, I kept my phone, I kept my life, because I knew instinctively how to react to a situation like that. Now you could pass that off as just me being stupid and lucky, but the reality is I've actually had crime committed to me a few times. I had, when I was 15, a bunch of guys try to roll me, and the way I reacted after I gave them my money, because they wanted my credit cards, is I stood up, I drew attention, they froze and they started running. They went to jail because of it. Oh, well, not to jail, they went to court, but they got tried for it and had to do some service. Separately, I had guys break into my car, and I just analysed and reflected. Why did they break in like that? Why didn't they take that? That was more valuable. And I realised, they're sort of they're trying to take opportunity out of the moment. They're just doing a run and dash. And so these different incidents, I've always spent hours thinking about what I could have done differently, why it happened like that. And maybe that's just my personality, I reflected on that. Now the reason this has got a tie in with the startup camp, Bart has a thing for his startup camps in Australia, he calls them exercise for entrepreneurs. And I really think that's what they are. You're being forced in a situation that you wouldn't normally experience. You're going to be getting frustrated, you're going to be encountering issues that you wouldn't normally encounter unless you're actually doing something that is a startup. And what that's doing is it's developing your instinct. Because you might not come up with a startup out of this, but you will maybe one day. You've all obviously got the idea that you want to do something like that one day. And you're developing this experience in the back of your mind that's going to make you a much more effective entrepreneur in the future. There's a saying that I live my life by, which is good judgment comes from experience, but to get experience you need to have bad judgment. And so if you have a series of bad judgments and you completely fail this weekend, then I think that's going to be a good thing, because you're going to learn not to do that next time, and you're going to know instinctively how to react in a situation in the future. So that's why I see there's value in things like this. Having said that though, I have seen businesses come out of it, and that's why I do want to separate the crowds here, because you need to make sure you've got aligned motivations. That's enough talking from me now. I want to start hearing from all of you. If you could give yourselves your background, why you're here, what you want to get out of it, and we'll keep going from there.